Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for Black Clover, episode 47. And I'm not gonna lie, this episode is one of those odd. Like, okay, it's an episode that is definitely a problematic episode. I'm not gonna mince words about that. It's definitely an episode that has more than a few problems with it. But at the same time, with us with us nearing the end of the season, so to speak, I'd be lying if I didn't understand exactly what why these current problems are kind of existing, so to speak. Like, I didn't want to mention it last week until I definitely knew for sure. And yeah, this week it kind of confirmed for me. So yeah, let's talk about it. But to start off with, watching, I'm not gonna lie. The biggest problem, of course, in today's episode was of course the recap. Like, it was 5 full fucking minutes long, which of course is already a problematic aspect. But I'm not gonna lie, watching the recap had a like. I think they added a few bits to the recap this week, and watching those bits did kind of make me kind of realize a few things. One thing right off the bat about the recap is in today's episode, the recap in today's episode kind of brought back my memory of reading the manga. And while I'm still gonna defend, pretty much Noel's badass moment against Vetto with, and I still think it was epic as fuck the way she kind of cast that whole water dragon, or that water dragon spell. Um, the one thing that was definitely brought up on Twitter for sure is definitely how is pretty much how definitely how the manga of how the manga version of that particular attack was definitely a lot more detailed. And I'd be lying if I said I couldn't see it. Like, I went back and reread this content, and yeah, the manga definitely got a little more detailed in terms of the appearance of Noel's attack. The anime just kind of went for pretty much I guess a bit of a, I don't say like a cheap design, but it definitely went for a bit more of the bare minimum of what it could do. Like, the anime just kind of played it safe in terms of the spell's design. So it's kind of one of those things where I still enjoyed like the epic moment itself, but looking back, I just kind of wish that the anime could have gone a little more detailed with basically with the design of Noel's spell, I guess you could say. Then again, I guess the anime thinks you can only do so much with water. I don't know. Um, Now we get we get an we get an interesting piece of backstory in this episode, that the demon that the first Wizard King defeated was possibly one of Vetto's kind. And if that's the case, it brings into question how old he, or hell, even how old the Midnight Sun actual itself, like the organization itself, actually are. Because from the way it's looking, it seems like both Vetto and the Midnight Sun, between Vetto, Licht, and the Midnight Sun, it seems like all three have been around for quite a while now, or at least since pretty much the beginning of things. And the former of Vetto being around, of Vetto possibly being around since the beginning, is especially interesting because if the Clover Kingdom, if pretty much if the Clover Kingdom massacred his kind after it was established to prevent another demon from cropping up, then that does add a bit of validity to pretty much to basically why, in terms of who the character of Vetto is, and why he joined up with the Midnight Sun, as well, like their grudge and whatnot. And I think it even further enforces that the Clover Kingdom has more than a few skeletons in their closet. Like just in the origins of just from this alone, we just from this little tiny flashback alone, we've pretty much established that, yeah, that a lot of what's going on right now, it seems to kind of be stemming from basically the origins of how the Clover Kingdom was established. So pretty much like it seemed like a lot of like licked Vetto, like a lot of these basically the members of the Third Eye and Licked, that they seem to be a little more closely connected than what's being revealed so far. And yeah, it should be interesting to see exactly what the connection between all this is in the end. um and okay, so I haven't talked about it in a while, but I definitely need to talk about the pacing too. Need to talk more about the pacing now. And I kind of, like I said, I kind of purposely wasn't talking about the pacing last time because I wanted to confirm if my little my little theory was going to come true, and in this episode it kind of did. Like the pacing in this episode, it was really off this week. Like in many respects, the whole episode, it felt like a classic Dragon Ball Z episode where the fight just got dragged out right, pretty much like the fight was just dragged out right up until the end, which honestly in a way makes sense as this episode only adapted one chapter. And the even more unfortunate part is I can kind of see the last cup. I can see the last couple episodes, we only have it's 4 episodes left, and I can see the last 4 episodes kind of being like this as we are like I said, getting closer to the end of this arc. So I guess what I'm saying is it's kind of one of those strange situations where while the pacing is definitely a bit of a problematic aspect to the episode and the last episode. I can still kind of understand I can still understand pretty much the reason as to why the pacing is this bad. It's because we're basically reaching the end of this arc, and it would make sense for pretty much Piero in order to want to end it on this arc rather than adapting only one episode that's going to go into pretty much the next arc. Like we might receive a bit of a teaser for the next arc for season 2, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's a problematic aspect, but I can understand as to why it exists. Um, so yeah, I can understand as to why the pacing was bad in this episode and last week. Also, I don't know about any of you, but Vanessa just went up a few notches in my favorite character list. If for no other fucking reason than to remain on her good side after what happened in this episode, because seriously, Vanessa controlling that Midnight Eye cultist with her thread magic, that was kind of fucked up. In fact, between herself and Vetto, I'm not sure who was the more frightening character in this episode. I suppose it would be a safe bet to go with Vetto as Vanessa only had that one moment where Vetto was basically was kind of a scary asshole pretty much throughout the entire episode. Sorry. But yeah, like yeah. This episode had me going, Vanessa, I like you. You're definitely a waifu material for sure. But your sadistic side is showing, and it's scaring me a bit. So yeah, it's one of those moments. And and okay, Finral, like Finral in this episode had me so freaking like going back and forth. Like on one hand, I'm like, bro, you crusty motherfucker, you just fucking go in there. Stop being such a cowardly asshole. But then he did end up pretty much joining in Vanessa and Asta's fight as like a team, and I did kind of like how they ended up teaming up together. How they did end kind of teaming up together in the end. Like that should provide a pretty interesting combo, as like we already got a little taste of what that combo can do, and I'm interested to see as to how this is gonna end. I've read the manga, so I will say that it isn't gonna end. So even it isn't gonna end, unfortunately, and just the fact that Asta wasn't fully healed is kind of a clue as to how this is gonna end. But yeah, like should be interesting how long they can last. Because it does seem to be setting up. This episode did seem to be kind of setting up too that in the end that Yami is going to get involved and he's going to fight Vetto in the end. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, guys, that's my review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.